Hello, everybody, and good afternoon. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Soph. I'm the Head of Customer Success here at CultureSuite, and I'm really excited to welcome everybody to our first in the Back to Basics series. Today, our Onboarding Specialist Kadri will be walking us through the dashboard, which is very exciting. And if you have any questions for us, please feel free to ask them in the comments or in the chat. Don't worry about English or Dutch, and we'll answer those at the end. And with that, it's over to you, Kadri.
Thank you, Soph. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Kadri, and this is a Back to Basics seminar, a webinar. First, I'm going to do a little introduction, talk about CultureSuite operations in general, and head on to explaining the platform and the dashboard. The webinar is mainly aimed at beginners who yet haven't had much experience with us and the platform, or for someone who would just like to refresh their memory. I am part of the onboarding specialist team, which also consists of Lisanne, our lead, and our new addition to the team, Michelle. And what do we actually do? Our main tasks consist of implementing the designs of new projects and support during onboarding, integrations, troubleshooting, and more technical advisory. Usually your first point of contact would be the customer success team, with whom we work closely together with. What is Peppered? Peppered is a software as a service platform to represent your venue on the front end and manage it on the back end, which is often made whole with a planning system like YesPlan or ticketing systems like Tixly, Ticketmatic, or Spectrix, for example. The structure of the platform is the same for everyone, but each styled differently according to the brand, guide, and project. I tried to find a few examples that look as contrasting as possible. First, our two newest go-lives. I'll show them to you. Here, for example, a very clean, minimalistic homepage of Donmar Warehouse. And on the contrary, we have Schouwburg Kuik. A lot of colors, kind of resembles to me a cartoonish vibe somehow. Then I've got, for example, Toneel Groot Maastricht with white tiles, dark background. Here, and the club. Here with a lot of colors that work well together with each other, kind of a magazine font, which all you can see they're somewhat using the same parts on the homepage, but look very different as a result. Here also just a few color choices and a small little detail to separate the parts, which makes it rather unique. Let's go back to the here. We are a continuous development, which is partly dependent on the feedback we receive from the community of our clients. New features can be developed upon request, which will also become available to everyone. Sometimes functionalities meant to be used in one way can be, of course, genuinely used for another purpose in case it works for you. And we're always curious to discover those possibilities with you. We are GDPR compliant, and sharing knowledge within the community remains important for us, for which CultureHub was created for. And don't worry, I'll show you the link to that in a bit. Don't hesitate to join, read along, or start the discussion on a topic there. Now, how do we work? We work in 3-week sprints. The first week of a new sprint is always when the beta group gets updated for the new, for us, sort of already a previous version. Our second week of the sprint is when everyone else gets updated to the new version. What about feature requests or reported bugs? Let's say you report a bug in sprint X, it would be planned to the sprint Y. There is a possibility that the sprint is already planned full, which means it would be planned to the consecutive sprint. And the reason for this is each developer has a certain capacity of points per day. There is a chance for release fallout bugs, which we try to take care of as soon as possible. Features will land in our product team's roadmap, which will be discussed and approved or occasionally rejected. It's possible to sponsor a feature, in which case we will prioritize it over other developments. Here are two important links, which are also on the main dashboard page. For ticket creation, you might already know Freshdesk. If you don't have an account there, you can ask your manager to create one for you if you need to report something. And then previously mentioned community site for instructions, news, trainings, and so on. For emergencies, I will show you where to find our phone number on the dashboard. And what are emergencies for us when the live environment is down or tickets cannot be sold? Then let's have a look at the dashboard. I'm missing one. Let's go. Right here. So maybe you're already familiar with this. The first thing you'll see big on the screen are the new fresh release notes. I recommend to read through those because you'll find some long-awaited solutions for bugs and new features that you can test. It's quite long. Then what else do we have here? A button to the dashboard home. Then we've got a toggle for light and dark mode. We've got a quick link to the front end and also some account-related information here. You can turn the toggle on for beta access for the new dashboard that we are working on. And we always recommend to turn on the two-factor identification. For further account information, you can go to the system and dashboard users. Right now, there are none actually here. Then we have some other things here on the right side. We've got the queue. It's set to 0 right now because we don't allow anybody to the front end. You can go to the queuing module and monitor that quite fast from there. And here we've got extra release notes, manuals to the CultureHub, and queuing test page preview. And so some support information. This one will take you to the Freshdesk and emergency number as a reminder. What's good to remind you as well is beside manuals here, you can go to each of the modules. Let's say pages, stories. You can click here on the right side, top corner, for the specific manual for that specific module. Let's head further. I will introduce you to the special access if you haven't acquainted yet. Got to log in here as well. So that's that little window here on the right side. We recommend not to use the cross. This will remove your caching as well. So always try to minimize it when possible. Here you will see the version number. That's 196 at the moment. And what else do we have here is the dashboard, quick link back to the dashboard. This will reveal crops for you that you can edit. Preview templates, I will not click there yet, but you can see all the system emails like password changes and ticket information. Time machine, I can introduce you later on as well. This will help you to test parts that you don't want them to be visible, or create visitor tag related parts, for example. Here you can see pre-sale information, quick links to the visibility and sale. Here is a summary of parts used on the home page or any specific page that you're on at that particular moment. And little details here, further also very specific to a page part exactly. Let's check further. So let's talk more about the modules and building blocks that are available for you. Of course, the roots of all content are productions and events, but the core structure depends on the menu. Routes and parts supports the structure of each type of page for content and storytelling, and banners and highlights play a big role in guiding the guests. Can't forget that template texts are an essential part of system information, which in a lot of cases don't need much setting up, just slight modifications. I will talk about grouping in a bit. Just first, let's take a look at an example of building blocks of a home page and a content page. I'll go back to the example of Nationale Theater. So what do we see here? We've got the main menu that's usually just in the top bar in any version that you have asked us to design. The welcome part will show either above or under the showcase banner, usually when you have logged in. Coming soon part is right here. It has a lot of parameters available, so you can play around with that one. I will come to that later again. We've got a highlight banner. That's this one. That's the heading on top of the featured flex grid. Highlight banners are very often used as a guide or a title towards a part, or you can use the highlight banner in a classic way, like any other banner as well, with an image, with a title, description, and a button linking towards something. Then this will drop us here. This is the featured flex grid, which is in a slider version. We've also got a featured flex grid that looks more like banners side by side or on top of each other. Then we've got a newsletter subscribe part. And here separately 3 banner images beside each other. Another highlight banner. That's this one. That's again as displayed as a title. And I see stories here, stories with a filter. You can turn the filter off with a parameter, or just leave it on like here. And stories right under. And a footer, of course. Very often we get asked about flex grid, featured flex grid priorities. That's this one here, because you can add banners, stories, events there, a lot of content. So how is it prioritized exactly? So first come featured stories, then come featured banners. Then third would be events with a property featured on home. You'll see that under properties on an event. It's a possibility that you can also switch via system and core to feature productions instead of events, but that's something more, more to the advanced. And fourth is just events in chronological order. You might also notice there is a featured on home also applicable for themes, but for themes you need a separate featured theme apart for homepage. Occasionally we get a question how to hide some events from the featured flex grid. And for that purpose, it's easier to create a status for these events and choose an option to hide from home. There's a little tick box I can show you to hide events from home. Let's see. Events. Oh no, I'm lost. Statuses. I created a site. This one. Here's the tick box. Allow events with this status to be featured on the homepage. No. Let's move to a content page then. I have a nice example of HNT story page. So what we see here is so I lost my track. This one creates a nice illusion with a header with a lot of images in there, which already has a background with a specific color that all other parts on the page have as well. So that there's a nice smooth melt between the parts, which is interesting, we find. Then there's a media gallery part, as you can see, with three tiles, and there's another media gallery with 2 tiles. Then we've got a description, second description, a form, another description form. What's this? Yeah, too many descriptions I've described already. Let's go further, and another media gallery with 3 tiles. The look and feel of the parts go hand in hand with parameters. Some more static and some are in catalog of parameters. I can share it with you, or you can find it in the knowledge base. It looks really long and complex, but once you try a few out, it can actually be quite fun. Here you can see some basic parameters. It's good to know or remember that the padding top and padding bottom are always set on 30 pixels. which means that between two parts is actually in total of 60 pixels. In case you wonder why is it not getting any closer or diminishing or going any wider. And background color, that's in hex code, that's usually referenced from your brand guide. And you can change that. In case you're not able to change what you're trying to change color-wise, then please contact us and we'll change it for you in the codes. And now I'll show you some of the most common parameters used as an example. Some most discussed, those are usually the agenda parameters for different view types. Let's have a look. Yeah, this is the parameter page. Looks very extensive, but I recommend if you're working on it, just go and find the word that you're trying to work on. Let's say part of people or stories or hero, page hero, and you can try everything that belongs under here. For example, where was I? Donmar Warehouse. Agenda page looks like this. That's not a list view. This is a mobile-ish view. I'm gonna show you. Of course, I'm logged out now. How do we get there? We go to the routes and parts. This is an event overview, and this is events. And here you can see variant is mobile-ish. By default, it's list view. Here we've got Bellevue and Nunspeet. They have a brochure view. So if I click here on top, it will open another pop-up. And with parameters, you can control what kind of information you display here. It can be few, it can be quite extensive. And only upon clicking here, you will go further to the production page. And here we've got a classic list view with some quirky edges. That's the example of the default view. I can also show you another one that's used very often, the text on top or under an image. You can try that out yourself. Queen's Theatre, let's see. So I'm gonna test it out on the news part. Let's go to system, routes and parts. We are on the home page, stories, and currently we have a flat version. So that means image above, text under. Let's try what the default is. So default puts the text on top of the image, for example. And some fun ones, some tips or interesting facts. For example, arrows in a slider, it's possible to change that throughout the page. Let's go have a look. So here's an example of, usually our arrows are just like a tip of the triangle. We can go, or no, it's an arrow. I forgot now. It's either of those. And we can also pick the round arrow. But this is not a parameter. This is a setting within the control panel. So let's say I would like to switch to the round arrows. I will look for an arrow. And it must be here somewhere. Let's look further. Slider round arrow style. So that's on yes. Uses rounded arrow icons with backgrounds for sliders. If you think that you'd like to change the look of them, we can do that in the code for you. And here as well, you can see Hip Hop House is using a round arrow with colorful backgrounds. And some animations, if you're interested. I don't see them being used a lot, but they're quite subtle. That, as far as I've looked, you can try those out as well. It makes the page look more interactive in general. Let's move on to our main pillar, productions and events, which everything revolves around of. There is always a production above an event or events. Our production types include a default version, which is meant for theaters, long-term exhibitions, movies, and courses. Something that is rather static from the beginning of starting working on the dashboard are seasons and groups. The rules for the seasons are very strict. They cannot overlap, and you can only have one current, one next, and one new consecutive season. Holes are also something that is set up from the start mostly, and in case you have locations, those can be added and filtered upon. Currently, filtering per hole is not possible. Statuses are also important, of course, which are mostly automatically checked by the system or, if needed, changed manually. And last but not least, grouping the content. Productions can be grouped by genres and tags. Currently, the same doesn't apply for events. In case there are any event-specific information to be noted, we've got an info field for that on event level. Both productions and events can be grouped into themes, and themes can be grouped to theme groups. Obviously, that's all going to help you base your filtering on. I'm going to show you a great example of our classic filtering based on Musikgebau example. So this is a nice, good use of our classic filter. There's the agenda title. They're using shortcuts to the next season and the archive. Also, of course, there's the date selector. They are filtering on genres. It's a nice amount of genres, not too many, not too little. And here are 3 different theme groups with themes within them. And here under, there are tags. Quite a few tags here. Pages can be grouped by story types, and pages, story types, and productions, they're on 2 collections. And also people module carries a role of a type of a collection. Here I have a quick example of a collection page. A lot of our clients manage to get a similar result also with media gallery and banners. So they all look a little the same, but collections help you maybe select more easily what you would like to display there. Here are some toggles, visible in story header, visible in production sidebar. And here you can select all the stories and pages you've created from, or story types or productions separately. It should make the work less manual and quicker, easier. Now, everything we have already talked about touches the subject of navigation. Eventually, it's important to think of an organic customer journey, guiding your customer via stories and other points of interest to their goal and event through clear structure. Very often, less is more. On the example of Donmar Warehouse and Musikgebouw, for example, Donmar's agenda doesn't even have a filter, as you might have noticed, which is a rare use case, but it works for them because they have just a handful of featuring productions throughout the season. And Musikgebouw, on the other hand, has such a broad selection of music styles for audience, from young to elderly, and from academic to less academic music, that they need to be able to find their events as smoothly as possible. Make use of banners by highlighting specific content and by creating personalized content for members, for example. And think about the filters that are absolutely necessary and limit the noise of options. And clear, consistent structure gives harmony to the pages and website in general. And my Back to Basics song has ended at this point. Please leave questions in the comments if you have any.
Beautiful. Thank you very much, Kadri. Thank you for your wonderful presentation. I don't think we have any questions coming in, but I will just double check the chat. But no, it looks like everything was nice and clear. No questions from the chat itself. So in that case, I will let everyone run away. But thank you very much and have a good day, everybody. See you later.
Thank you. Bye.